Hi, my name is Carolyn Welch. My mother and father are Gloria and Robert Welch. My father is locally from here. I've grew up here since '91. My mother is Blackfeet from Browning. We moved all over. My dad worked for the BIA, so I've lived on almost every reservation. So in and out of schools a lot, having to adjust to that. I grew up here, like I said, in Wolf Point. Started school here, South Side, North Side, Wolf Point High School. Played volleyball, cheerleaded. Not so much basketball. Wasn't too good at that. Did pretty well in school. Fell in love in high school. Got pregnant when I was 17. Don't recommend that. Makes a tougher path, but definitely will make you stronger. I started college here. I didn't finish school. I actually withdrew my senior year, got emancipated from my parents, got my GED right away because I knew I needed to start college right away. Started college at FPCC, went there for about a year, and then I joined the Army when I was 21. Thought I could do it. In my mind, I'm like, I can do this. So I went ahead and signed up, left 21 days later, scared, something you can't back out of once you sign that contract. So went ahead with that, left 3 weeks later, like I said, went to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, did basic training there for about, I think 11, 12 weeks. It's been a while. And then went off to San Antonio, Texas to do medic training. Was there for 5 months. It was a long, long time away from home. Calls helped a lot. Everybody else was in the same situation as me, just as, you know, when you go to college, you're in those groups and you find like people that are like your family. So finished that training, went off to North Carolina, was in a unit with tons of people. It reminded me of back home, you know, a lot of family, a lot of support, people like your brothers and sisters, you know, always with you. Really good experience. Went off to Hawaii, a paid vacation, was over there for almost 4 years. Worked at the hospital there, Tripler Army Medical Hospital. Big hospital, loved it. I got to work in all different wards. You know, I went to labor and delivery. That made me too emotional, you know, crying, delivering all those babies. Had me crying a lot, happy tears. Decided to go down to antepartum where we worked with women that had like female cancers, women that were going to deliver early, high-risk pregnancies. And then I got asked to move down to the ER. So I went down to the ER, love the ER, lived and breathed the ER. I like that intensity, that adrenaline. From there, I decided, at this time, I had 5 kids. I had 3 kids while I was over there. I had my youngest 3 who are a year apart. My last 2 are twins. So I thought, you know, I'm sacrificing them more than myself at this point. So I decided to get out, be mom, full-time mom. So we moved back home. I was super excited to move back home. You know, I had been gone almost 9 years at this point. Me and my ex-husband were actually dual military. We both served in the Army together, active duty. Same duty stations. He was there also. Got out, came back home. Home had really changed a lot, you know, being gone that long. I had many relatives that passed away. So I had to come home and kind of emotionally, you know, start to deal with that, which was hard. It was easier for me not to deal with the, you know, loss of family members. And I think that's anything in life, you know, we feel like if we avoid it, it'll just go away. But you know, in life, if you avoid things, they don't generally go away. They're eventually going to make a full turn and come back around. So with that said, I suggest you deal with things as they come in your life, you know, just deal head on with them, move past them, get over them. Got home, you know, dealt with that. My family from Browning, got to visit everybody. Everybody had grown up. I didn't come home much in the Army, you know, it was too costly with me and my children flying home, and family understood that. But I got to go back home over there and the kids were grown. Everybody had grown up. I didn't recognize a lot. A lot of people had babies. You know, we have big families, so I didn't know a lot of people. I still get that even this many years later. I got out in 2013, so I mean, this many years later, and I'm still struggling to recognize family members. I started, when I got home, well, unfortunately, my ex-husband, he went overseas. He fought in Afghanistan, my children's father, for 16 whole months. He was over there. We got back, and he had the hardest time like adjusting. He wasn't himself. I noticed he wasn't sleeping well. He started using alcohol to cope with that, and it's horrible, because some of us do grow up with that. We do grow up with that alcohol, and it is a coping mechanism for a lot of people. And I think maybe that's how he started coping with it. And it got out of hand. It got really out of hand where he couldn't even help himself anymore at that point. He was asking for help, and we weren't in an environment where, you can ask for help. It's kind of shameful in the Army. You have to be the epitome of strength, and you're leading soldiers, and you can't have that moment of weakness. And we got home, and I noticed we didn't have a lot of psychiatric people or therapists or, much to that sort. And he was very prideful, as we are as people. We're very prideful, and we don't like to, seem weak or anything like that. And he didn't seek out help. He didn't seek out that help that's there. It is there. Family's there. They can help guide you. I mean, there's tons of people in the community. All you got to do is ask. And he didn't realize that. He still had that Army mentality. So he didn't reach out. He went down that path of drinking. Eventually, it went to, I think, pills maybe, methamphetamine. The things that go with those, he start infidelity, he was seeking out other relationships other than our marriage. And it got to a point where, I had a 5-year plan getting out. And my grandma always told me, don't plan anything, it never works out. So I had that plan, and, and I helped as much as I could. You can only help people as much as you can, they ultimately, it's up to you as a person to have to decide, what you need to do, what's right for you as a person. And he didn't want that help, and so it's hard to let some people not fall, but, realize their path and their journey. And maybe he needed to go through that, I don't know, but it resulted in our divorce. I divorced, and going from married for 13 years, straight out of high school, we were high school sweethearts, and having 5 children and having this career and this life we built. I mean, all we knew was each other growing up. And it went to me being a single mom and not having his help, somebody that I had always relied on. And my dad sat me down and said, you can take 2 routes. You can pick yourself up, push, get where you want to go. Or you can wallow in your sorrow and, pity me this, pity me that. But as I've been older, I see where his words resonate, because I always think, I have this sad sob story, poor me, poor this, life's hard. But, everybody has that story. You might not know it. They might not share it with you. But everybody has that hard life story. I guarantee you that they do. So I picked myself up. I brushed myself off. I tried to be around people that were positive. I know that sounds cliche. But I really did. My dad and their family, my sister, they're all sun dancers. So it made it a little easier to be positive, because they're not so negative in a sense, when they try to see the good in everything, even though there are negative stuff in life, there is, but to remain positive. So I started college at FPCC right away, like January 2014. I got home October 2013, and that all transpired within those few months. Started college. I said I'm going to be a nurse because I was an Army medic, so it was just like right up my lane, Didn't know what I was going to be growing up, but the Army kind of built that into me, and it was my comfort. So I thought, well, I'll do pre-nursing. did pre-nursing. Everybody was so helpful in the college. Oh my gosh, Lynette, even my personal problems, Lynette, I could go to, sit down, Marty Ream, just sit down and talk to them. Ingrid Firemoon, I remember, was always there. Just sit down and visit them, let out my problems that I had, and they'd listen and, give what guidance they could. And I was fortunate to be Student of the Year for FPCC when I graduated. It actually took me a year and a half to graduate, and I graduated with that degree. And my daughter had said, Mom, did you apply for housing at SKC? Aren't you going to do nursing? And I was like, yeah, I better apply. So she was that push I needed. You're going to have those people in life too that give you that little push. Just take it, you won't regret it. So I applied, went over there. I've always been horrible in math, so I had to redo my math. I had a C, and then I took it there. I had it here with Mr. Denny, and he was great. So I went over there and I took it with a professor that was more of for students fresh out of high school that kind of knew what they were doing. Failed that. Well, I got a D. You can't have a D going to nursing. So then I took it again with another professor, and I finally got a B, which I needed to get in. So, there's going to be, you're going to fall, you're going to fail, jump back up, get back up and try it again. You're going to get there. So I finally got into nursing. That wasn't my only failure in algebra. I failed med-surg and nursing by 0.3%. That was one question I failed. One question. And, at the time, I didn't cry. I was hurt. I was really hurt because then that sob story came back. Why me? I try so hard. I'm doing everything, but that's, life doesn't give you things because of how hard your life was. You have to work for it. I should have studied a little better. I should have understood the concepts more maybe. But I, growing up, I had always heard everything happens for a reason. And I'm sure a lot of you have also. I always heard, even if you fail, whatever happens, it's there for a reason. And I knew it happened for a reason. I just didn't know that reason at that time. And I got to come home and I had my little cousin Angel, who had cancer. And it was progressive and it was terminal and it was not going to go away. And she was young. She had just graduated 8th grade, and her mother also, battled the addictions that we see throughout the res, just like in a lot of our families we see it. And it's painful and it hurts. And when I failed out, she was happy that I was coming home. She wasn't happy that I failed, but she was happy that I was coming home and that I could sit with her, because the cancer had progressed to where she was paralyzed from playing basketball and loving basketball to being paralyzed and not able to do that no more, and my cousin tried to be there for her daughter, and drugs change them into somebody else. It's not them. They want to be there, but that pull to the drugs is just so much stronger than anything you can think of. And we understood that as a family, so we all rallied around my cousin, and we were there for her as much as, she needed us. And then my cousin, who I grew up with like a sister, a couple months before Angel passed away, Crystal wrecked on the road going to my house. It was a fatality. She died at the scene. You don't think these things are going to happen in life, and they do, and I'm just grateful I was home. Even though she passed, I was home to be at that funeral, to be there for my aunt, to sit with my cousin and laugh while she's, sick in the hospital. And there's 30 of us in that little tiny room, all laughing and joking. And to sit there and watch that strength from a young girl was amazing for me, and it'll always sit with me. And then we buried my cousins, those two cousins, about 3 months apart. And my dad, he was just so broke up about, such a young life. It makes you question things, in life, and it's a normal response. And my dad had a stroke a few days after that. He had a stroke, and he's prideful, like I had said before, and said he had a headache and went and laid down, and by the time he come back out, he couldn't walk. He looked just horrible shape, and we got him in. to the hospital, and he had a brainstem stroke. Those strokes you can't do anything for, so hopefully they don't do too much damage, and he got in there, was in the hospital, awesome care up at the hospital, very family oriented up there. Took care of him. He like got his walking really became weak, and he's like, no, I got it. And there's that pride coming back at, no, I got it, trying to walk on his walker, and he stumbled backwards, and my mom had told him, you got it, and he started laughing. And he went from walking with a walker to a cane within like a week to walking with nothing. And he had this stroke that weekend, and he was back in court, tribal courts with his clients that Thursday. And he came home and he said, my thought process is really slow. He was like, I was in court and I knew what I needed to say, but it wouldn't come out. So he took some time after that, and waited till all of that start slowly coming back. And, how we are, we joke and we try to make light out of really serious and heavy events, because that's the way we cope. That's how we try to get through things, and that's okay. That's an okay coping mechanism. And, my dad got through it, and I know he was just waiting for me to graduate nursing, and I did. But, that was why I failed. And it wasn't a fail. It was like almost this option to come home and have that time that I wouldn't be able to have if that didn't happen, and for me, it was like, everybody said, oh, you're not devastated over failing. And I said, no, I got to be home with my cousin and have that time. What's 1 year? 1 year is nothing. We have these long lives. We have all this time that we can get these done. But as middle school students and junior high and high school, I think it's really important to start thinking about, what you want to do. It's going to change, and that's okay. We grow as people, we like new things, we get new hobbies. My daughter's a senior this year in Ronan, and her mind has changed probably 3 times now. So it's okay, embrace that change. You're growing as a person. You're going to make all these beautiful movements in life. I didn't have the easiest path, the easiest journey. I graduated from SKC this year, and it was one of the greatest moments in my life. I didn't think it would feel like that, and it really did. Like suddenly I'm a nurse. I graduate, I'm a nurse. And then it's, I was so happy. And then suddenly it's, oh, you have to take your boards. You have to become licensed. And then, study 8 hours a day for 32 days. And then go and take it. And then get licensed. And then suddenly I'm career set for life, and I'm 35. That's okay. Not everybody's journey is immediate. You're going to have setbacks. It's okay. Don't be so hard on yourself. Be gentle with yourself. You're growing, you're learning, life experiences are happening. Take it all in. It's a beautiful thing. Starting at home really helped me though at the college. I had the support I needed with being a new mom of 5. I went over there, I had my siblings over there that would help me in a drop of the hat, but I knew that they had their own lives, and I kind of had to tough up and, learn to do it on my own, which I did. I battled anxiety with it. But, I made it through. I'm here to talk to you guys today to let you know that it's okay. It's okay to fail. Jump back up, just persevere, keep going. And most importantly, people are going to believe in you. They're going to support you, but believe in yourself. Really believe in yourself. You can do it. I believe in you. I'm here. You can message me anytime you feel like you need to. I'm here for you. Thank you.